Would you do this if, after marrying your partner, you realize they are irresponsible and abusive? Listen to this. She says, when someone you love causes you so much pain, it's either they want to kill you or they never loved you. When love turns to hate, it becomes something else, and that's how my story began. I got married at the age of 25. I chose marriage over my master's and further education. I married my husband when my father wasn't in support of it. He wanted me to go to school and become who I wanted to be before considering marriage, but I was in love. I thought there would be nothing wrong getting married first. We had a beautiful wedding when I was already 2 months pregnant. I thought at that point that getting married to my husband was the best decision I had ever taken my entire life until some months into the marriage. He changed completely. He became a total stranger. He disrespected me. He treated me like a nobody. I experienced absolutely no love from him. He kept me home while he spent most of his time out with his friends and other women. The night I was in labor, I couldn't reach him. I had to call my friend to come and take me to the hospital. I thought he would change when he sees his first child, especially because it was a boy. I lied. He had no place in his life for us. He turned me into a punching bag. He hit me when he gets the least chance. My father was still sending me money monthly, so though he wasn't taking care of me, I was okay. I told my father and he angrily came for me, asking him to dissolve the marriage. He came with his family some weeks after to beg and take me back home. As young as I was, I still followed him, thinking he would keep all the promises he made to me during the family meeting. For the first few months, he wasn't bad. He behaved a bit well. I ended up pregnant again with twins. When I was in my 5th month, I lost my dad. I had no one to support me. I cried, but anytime my husband saw me crying because of my dad, he got angry and scolded me, asking me to go and join him if I wanted. After my father's burial ceremony, my husband went from bad to worse, of course, because there was no one to defend you anymore. He caused me so much pain with his words and actions. That was my 3rd year in marriage, but I felt like I was stuck in hell forever. He started bringing ladies to the house. He would threaten to hit me if I ever said anything to him or the ladies. He told some I was their nanny. I didn't really know how to behave. I just cried most of the time. It hurts so much to sit down with your kids in the same house where your husband is in another room with a random woman having sex. I became completely miserable, handling all 3 kids by myself and still trying so hard to impress a man who doesn't even notice me. There was always food, the house was always in order, and I endured every single nonsense he put me through, hoping he comes to his senses one day. I had no friends. I didn't stay in touch with my friends and relatives because he didn't want me to. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere except to get food items. I didn't have to use a phone of my own. I only used the landline he made available to call him if the need arises. I was going through so much. There wasn't a day I didn't cry. We went months without sex, and anytime we did, he was aggressive, giving me bruises just because I am barely prepared for it. Then one day I watched something on the television. I didn't know how I understood the whole thing, but the only inspiration I had was to set myself free by ending his existence. I started planning it. I couldn't risk going to jail for someone that kept me in one for over 5 years. So I started gradually. You won't believe it, but it was a basic house cleaning chemical I used. I added it to his meal in bits for some days. He went off and one day ended up in the hospital. For days, he stayed there unconscious, while the doctors struggled to flush whatever they saw out of his system. His brother encouraged me to take heart that he was going to survive it. I didn't want to hear him because when his brother was maltreating me, he encouraged his actions, always preaching to him that men are polygamous. After 3 weeks, he was discharged. He had to stay home for some weeks before he could go anywhere. No one suspected me. He became humble. He spoke to me properly and played with the kids after a long time. None of that moved me. I knew it was temporal, and he would become the beast he is when he recovers. He was probably being nice because I was taking care of him. I mixed the chemical with his drug, the syrup he was given at the hospital to drink. I mixed the chemical with his drug and gave it to him. Hey, Charlie. After some weeks at home, he went off again and ended up in the hospital. This time around, they couldn't even tell why. He died that same week, leaving behind his kids and I. I cried though. I was hurt. I never imagined my marriage ending the way it did. I thought we were going to live happily ever after. It's been 3 years. We are doing fine. There are certainly no ghosts because, though I am haunted by my own actions, I have seen no sign of him anywhere. I know God understood things better, and he has probably forgiven me for my actions. His family took majority of his assets, but they left the house. I am working, and I have my own inheritance from my father. Why am I sharing my story? Because the pain is too much. I am still not healed. I am traumatized. I hate men, and I feel I can't ever be with one again. I just want to talk to someone about a little of what I went through. Thank you for listening. So I received this from a woman whose husband, died some years back. Actually, she's the cause of it. She's confessing to us now that the husband maltreated her so much that she had no choice than to do what she did. What advice do you have for this woman? She's currently a widow with 3 kids. Let's know what you think in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is Love and Pills GH.